Speaking of mysterious places, we mostly think of the distant and icy Antarctica, the impenetrable jungles of South America, or the mysterious sands of Egypt. But Asia is no less mysterious and mystical. After all, it's here where you can find a lot of alien artifacts and structures, in the creation of which you won't believe. Let's take a look. Alien masks. The year 2021 was rich in many events, and archaeology was no exception. More recently, archaeologists were conducting excavations in the Chinese province of Sichuan and found several masks in which many saw something alien. UFOologists have studied these artifacts and noticed that some of the stone masks have unnatural for the average person, big pointed ears and bulging eyes. In their opinion, this may be evidence that in ancient times our planet was visited by aliens who left their relics as a keepsake. Archaeologists, of course, have a different theory. In their opinion, the artifacts were created 3,000 years ago and belong to the Bronze Age, as they believe the masks could belong to the rulers of the Shi dynasty because the place where the relics were found was once the capital of the late Shi. Still, UFOologists are adamant. They believe that archaeologists either haven't figured out the details to the end or are hiding something. UFOologists insist that the masks could only belong to aliens. Maybe UFOologists aren't wrong. After all, strange alien relics and artifacts are found all over the planet, and especially in Asia. In addition, aliens apparently have really taken a fancy to China. Several years ago, an unidentified flying object emitting white light was spotted in the night sky over Beijing. Similar observations were recorded in the North China Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region and the northwestern province of Shanxi. A little later, another video shot by a young man was posted to the internet. He managed to capture the strange object which moved across the sky in the middle of a clear day. The author of the video is sure that a flying saucer got in the frame. UFOologists supported the guy. However, scientists, as always, stuck to their opinion. In the first case, in their view, the exhaust gases of the aircraft were shot, and in the second case, a probe or drone was filmed. How do you personally believe? Share your opinion in the comments. I personally believe that we should not completely rule out one version or the other, because other Asian finds hint at the fact that visitors from outer space have been in the region. This can be evidenced by figurines of Dogyu. It's one of the oldest Japanese finds. Some figurines date back as far as the 14th millennium BC. Theorists believe that the Dogyu are nothing more than a representation of aliens. It makes sense. At the very least, the large eyes look too suspicious. They look a lot like the alien eyes we've seen in movies and comic books. Many of the figurines have elongated heads, which is another alien trait. The official version refutes these assumptions. According to scientists, the Dogyu are human images of small statuette idols, which manifested positive energy. The theory correlates well with the Japanese Shinto religion, which has its roots in animism. But it's only a theory. In fact, until now, no one knows exactly what these clay figurines represent. Could it be that the Dogyu are really images of aliens? Could this be how the ancient Japanese decided to pay homage to the aliens? For what? Well, for example, for building structures that are hard to believe for even modern scientists. Stay tuned to see them. Megaliths in Asuka Park. In Japan's Nara Prefecture, you can find Asuka Park. In the park, there are giant megalithic structures which scientists still can't explain. The ancient structures are astonishingly well preserved. Despite their age, they've come down to us almost in pristine condition. They strike us with their scale. These aren't just stones weighing many tons, but excellently processed boulders. Some of them, such as the block called Sakafune Ishi, have smooth recesses and forms. But how could ancient Japanese create such a miracle? How is it possible to carve such recesses with only primitive tools? Even at present, it would be extremely difficult to recreate such a thing. All of this puzzles scientists and surprises ordinary people. Not surprisingly, many people are convinced that the megaliths in Asuka Park were created by aliens or an advanced civilization whose technology has been irretrievably lost. Similar thoughts go to the heads of the local inhabitants of Shravana-Belagola. This is an Indian town. In general, the town is one of the most important places of pilgrimage for the followers of Jainism. But we're not interested in it, but its temples, or more precisely in their columns, which are difficult to believe in the reality. Scientists still can't understand how the masters, who lived about 1,500 years ago, could carve from the stone such giant columns with incredible forms, smooth surface, intricate patterns, and amazing motifs. All this can be said about the carved columns of the temples of Shravana-Belagola. The unique elements are not just carved filigree. Even today, it's almost impossible to recreate something similar. At least it would be necessary to use high-precision machines. But how did the ancient craftsmen manage to create such a carved miracle, having neither chisels nor machines nor other special equipment? So far, this is unknown. Sword of Gaojian. Let's go back to China. In 1965, archaeologists found a sword in a local tomb. What makes it unusual? Well, the fact that it's at least 2,500 years old, and despite this, the sword has been preserved in perfect condition. So perfect, in fact, that there was no rust on it, and one of the archaeologists even cut himself while checking the blade. It later transpired that it may have belonged to Gaojian, the ruler of the Yu Kingdom during the spring and autumn periods. The most interesting thing about this story is that the Sword of Gaojian is considered legendary. In one legend, Gaojian called it the only weapon worth fighting in his collection. And another legend said that the sword was so beautiful that it could only be created by the combined efforts of earth and heaven. So have archaeologists found the real legend? Maybe so, but scientists believe that the find can be explained differently. In their point of view, the credit goes to the Chinese armorers. They made the blade of stainless alloy and sheath of the sword so tightly fitted to the blade that the air access to it was practically blocked, hence the incredible preservation. Jinzhou. As it turned out, the ancient Chinese were able to preserve not only swords but also bodies. And Jinzhou is great proof of that. She can give a head start to many Egyptian pharaohs because her mummy's been preserved amazingly. Jinzhou, also known as Lady Dai, died in the 2nd century BC, and her mummy was stumbled upon in 1971. The autopsy found blood in the veins of the deceased. Her internal organs have been preserved as if she died just a few weeks before. Her joints were still able to move, and her skin was still supple. All of this was beyond the scientist's comprehension. How had Jinzhou preserved so perfectly? How, in 2,000 years, practically nothing happened to her? The liquid she was buried in is believed to be the answer to these questions. It completely evaporated 5 minutes after the tomb was opened. Scientists haven't been able to determine the exact composition of the liquid. Who knows? Maybe if they had managed to do so, we could buy some elixir of life in any drugstore by now. Mummies are not the only thing China and Egypt have in common. As in Egypt, there are many pyramids in China, and some of them are quite strange. Take, for example, this pyramid. A structure smaller than human height was found in Henan province a few years ago. Archaeologists were surprised. First of all, they didn't expect to stumble upon such a tiny pyramid. Secondly, they determined that the structure was uncharacteristic of China. And indeed, who would have built something like this? What was the purpose of it? Why exactly a pyramid, and why so small? It's not possible to bury a person in it. Archaeologists have many questions of the structure, and they hope to receive them. In this case, a lot of interesting details and discoveries are waiting for us. Stone with characters. Not all finds and artifacts have to be mystical or incredibly mysterious to astonish scientists. This stone with characters is a great example of that, because it can rewrite the history of Japan. Studies have shown that the artifact was created a century or more before writing emerged in the country. The age of the discovered stone is about 2,000 years. Scientists believe that the stones may represent the oldest example of writing in Japan. However, not everything is so unequivocal. Some skeptics are not convinced that the symbols on the stone are indeed characters. It's possible that they were some kind of ritual symbols unrelated to the written language. In addition, it's not yet been determined whether the inscriptions on the stone were made in Japan or not. It's believed that the stone could have been transported from China, where the written language had appeared earlier. One way or another, scientists have a lot of work to do, but there's a good chance that this discovery will rewrite the whole history of Japan and will make us look at the land of the rising sun differently. That's all, guys. Which Asian find impressed you the most? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.